We got up to 260. We just touched 268 for a split second yesterday. I was not on the desk in the afternoon hours, so and I didn't have a script to short it into 268 again. We did come off almost to 266 there. We got the morning low where I bought right here at 266.80. So same theme. When we fail on the upside, we kind of meander up there, and then boom, we overshoot to the downside. So we'll see what happens. We have a 2 o'clock announcement. I think everyone's presuming that Trump's going to pull out of the Iran deal. I imagine if we don't, you could see some serious buy pressure in the market. If we do, we'll just have to wait and see, because I would think it would be more expected at this point that we're going to drop out. So pre-market low here is 266. I have 265.60-ish as the first kind of legitimate support, where we dropped at the end of the day on Friday. Clearly the market's catching a bid right now, almost $1 off the low. And so the question is, does yesterday's support now become resistance? So it starts like around, right around 267 here. You can see all these wicks right above that, 267.25. So this would be the spot. Does it fail a little bit lower? Start to roll over, you short it, see what happens in the pre-market low. All right, so a bunch of stuff going on. Let's start with JD, which has already bounced a little bit. Here's the daily. So it's quite the range for the last year or so. It gap filled recently. Obviously, it had gap filled before and tested. It looks like it wicked below the gap fill the other day. The bid is above 38 right now. So just such a messy chart on the daily. So all right, let's zoom in. So what was it doing coming into earnings? It was being accumulated. It got hit from $40, came off hard for 2 days to 37. That was the bottom in the pre-market. Kind of worked quite a bit after this, hard down move here from 40. Then 37 became resistance, started to hold above, tested it. The next morning, it opened there, got hit, got back above. And 37 is important. Doesn't seem to want to close below there. And on the sheet, I put 39 and 40 resistance. This up here somewhere. All right, so if you were hanging out watching it this morning, I guess you saw it being bought at between 37 and 37.20. Now the buyers have stepped up to 37.50. And so the key really will be, reminds me a little bit of that chip stock yesterday that bounced from like 23 to 26. The 24 to 26 move happens in the afternoon when I wasn't around, but it caught a bid in the morning at like 22, 22 and a half. On the open, had an opening drive, something like this, and then eventually worked its way up to the resistance levels. So this is where I have my alert set here and here. But I want to see, if I do buy it into weakness right in the open, I want to see it get back above 38 and really push away from 38, at least up into this area here. And then with a trailing stop below, probably 37.50, see if it can work its way to the resistance areas. If it fails if it fails at 38, like they're selling there all morning, and then it starts to hold below 37.50. That's when you can flip on your short bias. VRX. So VRX bottomed a while ago. Oh, looks like we're gonna give a shot at 20. So here's quickly on the daily. We've talked about the sector many times the last couple of years. It finally found a bottom. Some of the stocks, a few of the stocks reported today. MNK also reported. PRGO also reported. This is the most liquid one that we usually take a look at. Came all the way down, went down to below $10, then made a higher low at 11. It got overdone when it got into the low 20s. So I think it's going to be tough for it to it's going to be tough for it to close higher than this area here. So you can see in the pre-market, the buyers are definitely in control. First move was to 1950, came in, they stepped in at 19, they started to hold it at the high. That's bringing to 20, but my first thought is, what I put in the chat, I put 20 resistance. So I want to see if it fails here at 20. If it comes back down and supports here, that's fine. You can play it on the long side again. But if it fails up here and takes out this 19 and then tries to bounce up and then fails and gets below 19, we've seen this have many times it's gapped higher like this, come off $2+. 60 cents is the ATR, so $1.80 would be a 3 ATR move. 240 would be a 4 ATR move. But certainly, if it's weak today, a move back down into this area here from yesterday. So what we'd be looking at. But they talk bullish. The CFO was saying how the turnaround is working. I'm looking right now, our firm is net shorted. So there's other people, I guess, at the firm who think that this move is a little bit of bullshit. We'll go from there. It's going to be very liquid, over 10 million shares. The next one is SEAS, which we shorted many years ago in the 20s, came all the way down to, I think, 10 at one point. Another one that's beaten down. The low was 10.5. So it had gapped down to around $20. This is a bunch of years ago. That's where it's gapping to right now. If we look at where it's been recently, I mean, in the fall, it was $11, $12 stock. A bunch of people were buying it here between 14 and 15. Is it gapping up this morning enough for them to sell? It's up over 20% right now from this area. No, we're not getting any information. There's only 15,000 shares traded. So what I put on the sheet for levels, 18, 19, 15. Yeah. So those levels are kind of off the chart. So my first thought is the buyers step in this area right here on the open between 17.10 and 17.35. If it's bought here and gets above 17.50, play it for the resistance levels on the sheet. And then obviously the gap fill is right here. Normally trades 2 million shares, so we're looking at probably 4 million plus today. The next one is RKDA. Gina probably saw we were short this for a while when it was at much higher prices. Today's day one of good news going up. I think recently we saw, I forget what the ticker was the other day, where the stock had been beaten down to like $10. People started shorting at 12, 13, and went up to like 18. Here it was 60. Obviously, second time. It based at 22 for like a couple weeks, broke out above 25, went to 31. Really beaten down this time again. And so you can see it's gapping just to $12 here. You kind of have this area here. What you'd look like in this situation, is it really strong in the open? Does it fail to pull back much? Just take out the opening high at some point and go to $15, $16. It's a low float. Normally only trades a few 100,000 shares. It's already traded over its daily volume today. We go back to the last time it had a big move. It traded, looks like it traded 14 million shares on day one and 6 million on day two. So it should be very liquid. And then finally Z, which I bought about a month ago in the 48 area, down here. I guess people were wrong. I mean, look at what they did coming to earnings. They bought it. I actually didn't, I got an alert about $50. I never added to my position. They ran it up to 56 ahead of earnings. Here. So let's split the difference. So 47.5 to 60, 6. That's here. It's definitely below that. 60%, 7. Looks like we might be setting up for a retest again of 50 to 51. We'll kind of see. Got a couple of downgrades, a couple of upgrades. I think it mainly is a valuation thing at this point. So you can see the initial move was down on earnings. It did bounce from 51 to 52.5, 53. I put on the sheet for resistance. I put 53. So it's really here. This is the first possible real resistance area. It bounces off 51. So the way I look at this is, does it flush below 51 on the open? Does it catch a bid somewhere above 50? Does it get back above 51? And then does it kind of bounce back up to here? And we'll kind of go from there. There's a reason I put it last. It's a very difficult stock to trade. And then Apple. So Apple, I'm still short a little from 187.5. This I thought was a relatively easy short in the afternoon. It was basically, it's Apple. It's not a momentum stock, and it already went up huge day one. On day two, I was looking to short it into here. It did come off, but then it took out the morning high, gave it a shot again here, made a lower high here, but the real momentum short didn't trigger till right here. I'm sure a few people shorted this momentum. Did they short this retracement? I have no idea. But it was a really good intraday overbought. This is a definition. If something goes up on day one big, then on day two it's strong. BABA is the same thing, right? But BABA never rolled over. But this one rolled over below this, morning high support. Once it gets below, it's a short here. You play it into this. And then after 186, you played into the morning support, which had actually bounced from the morning support. It went below it first, but then it got back above it, had a really nice bounce, certainly reestablishing a short here. Now the tricky part is today. And really the question is, can it pop up again to 86, make a lower high, and then come back into what I put for support on the sheet, 183.5, 184. I mean, I think this would be a pretty good pullback from the high. Into here. And then BABA. So day one went up $10, actually $12. Day two, it was really, it was tough. It would drop down like $1. It was dropping down like $1 at a time. And 3 or 4 times I did cover into 183.50 and kept on holding some. And then eventually, after this move here, it did a retest at 94 and then had another up, like a $2 up move. So, and then morning resistance became support the rest of the day. So this is a really strong stock. What would make it different if it actually took out this area here, started to hold below that? Checking in to see what it's doing here in the pre-market. So that's what they're doing. They're trying to get people on the open. You see this, and it comes back here. You want to look for the short back to 92 is the big level on the daily. holding above 95, you can start to think about it taking out yesterday's, or at least testing yesterday's high.
Hope you enjoyed that video. You can actually watch that video if you're subscribed to our Trader 90 before the market even opens. What stocks are in play? What levels in those stocks are important? And how we might go about attacking that stock. That's Steve Spencer, 20-year veteran trader, laying it out there every morning before the market even opens. A really, really powerful tool to start your session off on the right foot. So right now we're offering a trial that you can take advantage of to access this meeting and other meetings throughout the day. We have a meeting at 11 a.m. Eastern where you can sit down with Mike Bellafiore and listen to him talk about what's going on during the morning session, what stocks were in play, what the best trade opportunities were, as well as maybe some things that we're looking at heading into the afternoon session. So I really encourage you to take advantage of that trial.